Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, Tasmania could open its borders to safe states as early as the end of next month. The Premier announcing another raft of restrictions have also been lifted for seasonal and FIFO workers.
A handful of travellers watched by a handful of police. Tasmania's closed borders makes for a sobering sight, but it could change soon.
The State Controller, on the advice from Public Health, is looking at the possibility of bringing forward the date for easing our border restrictions with COVID safe and low risk states by the end of October.
Possibly opening our borders before December 1. Hobart Airport hopes today's announcement could mean more flights.
Well, it's certainly welcome news to have the opportunity to have flights again into and out of Hobart, or increased flights into and out of Hobart.
There's already good news for some travellers. Returning FIFO workers from low-risk areas will also be allowed to skip quarantine. And there's a boost for berry growers preparing for the harvest.
From next week, we'll also allow seasonal workers to enter our state under COVID-safe conditions for the upcoming season.
Could be somewhere in the range of about 1,000 to 1,200 people who would be looking to come back.
As for helping Tasmanians trapped overseas, Peter Gutwin says the government stands ready to help, offering up emergency flights if needed. Also revealed today, audits of Tasmanian aged care sites will be completed next week, and a new campaign has been launched, warding off COVID complacency.
We just can't walk away and expect that things will be okay.
Today, a parliamentary inquiry heard more evidence from the tourism sector. Industry boss Luke Martin appearing from his car after COVID restrictions kept him outside.
We're looking at least another 6 to 9 months of a very compromised visitor market. As I say, I don't think I'm deeply concerned about what things might look like come April, May next year.
A busy summer could make all the difference. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanian GPs have welcomed the extension of telehealth, praising its convenience and safety during the pandemic. It comes, however, amid calls for an urgent review into federal government changes to Medicare rebates for heart health tests, saying patients could be left out of pocket.
It's actually really fundamentally going to affect our ability to keep offering that service. And if we can't offer it without giving another fee to a patient at a time when patients are really struggling financially, I think that's really difficult.
The changes began last month. Tasmanian motorists can now keep a watchful eye on the cheapest fuel prices across the state from their own phones. The new real-time pricing app welcomed by the RACT as it continues its push for downward pressure at the Bowser.
Scrolling for a petrol bargain. This new app offering thrifty motorists cheaper options when filling up. Many say they're already keen to use the feature.
I live probably about 40 minutes away from town, and I work in town, so fuel prices are really important to me, so yeah, I would use it.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, just to charge, and will save me time as well. I could find the best price and closer to me as well.
The Fuel Check Tas app and website launched today after delays due to COVID-19. Retailers statewide now legally obliged to record and update their fuel prices, a move long called for by the peak motoring body.
After many years of lobbying, and particularly during the COVID period where we saw the cost of fuel just really far too high across the state, we're really excited that we can now actually see some real change be implemented.
And what that actually does is increase the level of transparency and hopefully competition to ensure that fuel prices are kept as low as possible.
The RACT says compared to other jurisdictions, Tasmanians have been paying way too much at the Bowser.
That's now over $19.5 million since March that we think motorists have been overcharged. So we certainly hope that Tasmanian motorists get around the app and actually make sure that they are looking for the cheapest fuel.
Well, it has to drive down the prices. I think it's time that something's done and we're all made aware of what we're paying and not just filling up and swiping our card and going.
The app is available on iOS and Android devices. Ruby COMMANE, 7 Tasmania News.
A coroner has determined a man who died in hospital following a car crash received poor care shortly before his death. Grant Maynard was rushed to the Northwest Regional Hospital after he was seriously injured in a two-car smash in Wivenhoe in September last year. An investigation found medical staff failed to recognise a 60-year-old's broken ribs and significant internal bleeding, which led to acute kidney failure. He died in hospital 3 days after the crash. The Tasman Peninsula was left cut off from the rest of the state today when the Denali Bridge got stuck while open. Witnesses said the bridge wouldn't budge after letting a boat through, with a crew of technicians tasked with solving the problem. The issue caused extensive delays, with cars unable to drive across the only access road into the popular area. Operators worked to quickly resolve the matter, manually pulling the bridge back into alignment. The Wilderness Society has launched a new campaign aiming to raise $60,000 to fight development in Tasmania's national parks. The group behind the new Wilderness Defence Fund says much of the funding will be spent fighting a controversial proposal for a standing camp at Lake Malvina.
This is absolutely fundamental way that the Wilderness Society campaigns and has been so successful in protecting special places around the country, including in Tasmania.
But the group is already facing criticism from the state's peak visitor body, which says the plan is discouraging tourism in Tasmania. The state government has committed to reviewing its assessment process for Screen Tasmania funding. It comes after Labor raised concerns a documentary, partially funded by the government initiative, was promoting illegal activities. The film Wild Things explores protesting campaigns Australia-wide, including in Tasmania's Tarkine.
We support arts, the arts industry, we support the forestry industry, and so we need to ensure that the guidelines just simply don't promote unlawful activity.
I see a future for Tasmania that has an intact native forest ecosystem, the remarkable Tarkine protected as a national park, and freedom for people to be able to make films without criticism from politically motivated attacks.
The film's producer is standing by the project and says it's not promoting any illegal activity. A new campaign is hoping to shine a light on Tasmanian businesses crawling out of the darkness of COVID-19. The Love Lonnie tagline will be plastered all around Launceston, in shop windows and even on bumper bars. City Prom officials say it's key to support local as we head into the festive months.
What we don't want people to do is take the easy route with Christmas shopping, hop online, get it all posted to them. If we do that, we're doing a disservice to our amazing city.
It follows the release of new data which casts a grim prediction for the city's 700 businesses once JobKeeper payments are slashed at the end of September. A new surf life-saving report has exposed a worrying trend in the state's drowning deaths in the past year. All 6 lives lost, men, prompting a strong warning ahead of our hotter months.
In comparison to the 248 drowning deaths nationwide, Tasmania's figures seem like a drop in the ocean.
We lost 6 lives to drowning.
But behind every number is a story, a tragedy and a family left behind.
We just don't want to lose any more fathers, sons, brothers. It's just so important.
6 deaths, 2 more than last year. The biggest concern, all are middle-aged men. Most were at coastal areas and most had alcohol in their system.
Leave the celebration with the beer until you get back on dry land and you're safely out of harm's way.
On the positive side, for the second year in a row, no children drowned. A statistic lifesavers want to keep in check, pleading with parents to teach their kids about swim safety.
I wouldn't say it was easier when it's an adult, but I think it's a bit more, you can accept it and take that on a little bit better.
For many, the warmer months and the water go hand in hand, but the message from experts, pleasure can quickly become peril if you're not careful.
Make sure you can actually see and recognise what a rip is. Never swim alone, and as I said before, wear a life jacket when you're going on the water.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
Up to 1,000 people will be allowed to attend local sporting events from next Friday. The doubling of capacity limits comes just in time for finals in the TSL, SFL and NWFL and on the eve of the NTFA's grand final. Clubs have reported needing to turn fans away on a weekly basis as grounds quickly reach their 500-person limit. One club which will relish the bigger crowd is SFL club Hobart, which has secured a finals berth after going winless last year.
We're really proud of our group so far to come from how far we've come back from the last couple of years, especially last year not winning a game, to this year going to be able to participate in the finals. It's a great effort by the playing group, everyone involved at the club.
Social distancing and hygiene protocols must still be in place at venues. Stuart McSwain has set a new Australian record, and the timing couldn't have been better. The Tasmanian shaved 4 seconds off the record 3,000 metres time, which had stood for precisely 14 years. Nipping on the heels of his Irish pacemaker in Italy, Stuart McSwain and co shifted up a gear.
The big three now get away.
And all three burst at the bell. It took a lightning-fast champion to beat the King Islander.
Boy, oh boy, one of the quickest times in history.
But he did set a new Australian 3,000 metres record. McSwain's time of 7 minutes 28 seconds, eclipsing a mulleted Craig Mottram's previous best, set 14 years earlier to the day in Athens. Richie Porte's infamously bad luck in the Tour de France reared its head again as a gravel section of road punctured Porte's front wheel.
This is desperately bad luck.
Devoid of teammates, the Tasmanian had no choice but to soldier on until the team car could finally give him a serviceable solution. But Porte's grit shone once again. He fought back to catch the peloton with 10 kilometres to go and finished the stage 6th, holding his position in 4th overall.
To get a puncher like that, of course it's going to happen to me, but it was a nice chase back, and I didn't really think I was going to make it, but I guess I had to fight.
Poland's Michał Kwiatkowski took the stage win. Primoz Roglic still has the yellow jersey with 3 stages to go. The latest statistics reveal Longford trainer Bill Ryan has the best strike rate of all horse trainers in the nation. With 8 wins and 11 placings, Ryan's winning strike rate sits at a whopping 57% so far this season. And Olympia Warriors will host its old foe Clarence in its new amalgamated form this weekend.
Clarence in its previous form hasn't won at Warrior Park since the 13th of April 2012.
And that record is unlikely to be challenged. Olympia's won its last 5 outings by credible margins, and the club expects to roll the Clarence Zebras this week. And as for South Hobart and Kingborough replaying their Lacko Seljack Cup semi-final,
I think the replay is probably correct. It seems like it's a fair compromise.
And our upcoming Friday night flashbacks will relive the Sydney Olympics week by week, 20 years on. Tonight we ride the highs and lows of the Tasmanian athletes from the opening ceremony until this day 20 years ago. The opening ceremony is a night few of us will ever forget, but it was surely an early one for Ulverston's Craig Walton, who was the first Tasmanian in action at an event making its Olympics debut, the triathlon.
He looks fantastic.
Walton headed the field in the bike leg, but finished in the mid-20s, simply awed by the experience.
The crowd was just awesome out there, it was unbelievable.
Likewise, Mowbray's Daniel GILMOUR, who, shortly after becoming Oceania champion, was defeated 4-2 by Italian Leonard Bundu in his first bout. The then 19-year-old still hailed a hero.
Walk out to a crowd of 110,000 people cheering and screaming, it's an unbelievable feeling.
Wynyard basketballer Carla Boyd's Olympics had also begun by this point, with wins over Canada and Brazil. Amazingly, in a profile piece leading up to the Games, she admitted she wasn't very good in her junior days on the northwest coast.
I struggled to catch the ball properly and things like that, a bit uncoordinated. So because there weren't so many people that went for state teams and things like that, I always made it because I was taller than everyone else.
And then there was the Tassie Kookaburras duo, Daniel Sproul and Matthew Wells.
Playing for your home crowd is just nothing like it, and it's really exciting to be part of something like that.
The pair kicked off their Sydney 2000 campaign in the opening days with a big win over Poland. And of course, next week, Kim, we'll have week 2 of the Olympics and get to enjoy it all again.
Oh, beautiful. Some household names there. Thanks very much, Tom.
Good evening. As expected, a chilly start with overnight temperatures up to 6 below average. Lyowini dropped to -5. Hobart and Devonport 14 today. Launceston and Bushy Park the state's high with 17. Burnie 13 degrees. Grove and Friendly Beaches 16. St Helens, Strawn and the Islands 15. Lowhead at 13 degrees. Plenty of sunshine today with mostly clear skies over the state under a high pressure system. A low moved over South Australia, producing cloud and thunderstorms there. High cloud pushed over New South Wales and Victoria. Colder cloud wraps around a low south of WA, while convective cloud is over the Territory and Queensland. Tomorrow, the strong high remains over the Tasman Sea. A cold front crosses into Victoria. East and nor'easterlies at 15 to 20 knots, but not for long. They should increase to 20 to 30 knots for the northwest and central east and swells up to 4 metres. Strong wind warning has been issued from Sandy Cape to Stanley and from Wineglass Bay to Southeast Cape, and a frost warning for parts of the upper Derwent and Midlands. Let's kick off the weekend. Hobart, a partly cloudy 21. 21 for Medina, early fog and frost, but warming up quite well. 16 the high for Oatlands and partly cloudy. Launceston 19, early fog but a shower later. 17 for Devonport with a shower or two. Early frost for Liaweenie, 0 to 13 the temperature range. 17 for Burnie, a shower, partly cloudy for Strawn on 21. Marrawar 17 degrees. St Helens expecting a high of 16 with a shower or two. Cloudy for Swansea 18 the top, 18 also for Orford. On Sunday, showers over the north and developing over the west in the afternoon. Showers extending statewide on Monday before contracting to the north and west late evening, and on Tuesday showers more likely over the north and west. Showers in Perth tomorrow, a possible storm for Adelaide, late rain over Melbourne, a shower or two for Canberra and Sydney, and a morning shower in Brisbane. Clear in Hobart, 9 degrees, 11 right now in Launceston, clear in Devonport as well, and 10 degrees. Kim, I've been meaning to tell you, I've been so excited about wanting to use our travel voucher from the government that this week I brought home a great big map of Tasmania and I gave Donna a dart and I said, you throw that and where it lands we'll go. So it looks like we're going to be spending a week behind the fridge.
It could have ended up in Bass Strait, so be grateful, I reckon. That's all your news for now. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Good night.